Hey, what's going on, roleplayers? It's the Bard here, and welcome back to the corner. I'm currently in the middle of a Ranger analysis, so I thought wouldn't it be fun to break it up a bit and talk about unconventional Rangers. I get some of the craziest suggestions from the people who watch my vids, so I thought wouldn't it be great just to put some of the best suggestions together and put them all in one video where you can have a really unconventional character build that's also fun and entertaining to play. So first on our list today, how about an Urban Archer?
Wow, Snake Plissken, all right. What you doing in here with a gun, Snake?
Looking for somebody.
This is one of the first characters to come to mind when I thought of the Urban Ranger. The character is good in combat, but he also needs to be an expert in infiltration, and at the same time he's stuck there because of a political agenda. Settings like Greyhawk or Kingdoms of Kalamar are really people and politics focused. So having something like an Urban Ranger really fits the theme because you're going to be spending all of your time in big cities or in towns, places where you're going to interact a lot with individuals and get lots of mystery, lots of intrigue, lots of politics. So you're going to want skills and abilities that reflect the environment that you're going to be working in. Settings like this are obviously a good example of how the pen is mightier than the sword. However, all of that needs to be enforced by someone. Whether you're some kind of mercenary, a bloodhound, or even some sort of assassin, you can write as many orders or rules or laws as you like, but unless you've got someone to enforce them, someone to embody that action, then you're going nowhere. And that's where the Urban Ranger comes in. You want a tracker, you want a hunter, you want someone who can do the dirty work, or perhaps the opposite. Perhaps you need to find someone, perhaps something really important hinges on the fact that this person be rescued. Whatever the point is, you need someone with the skill to find individuals and then do what's necessary. Gloom Stalker offers up enough practical spells for you to be good at infiltration, as well as good at ambushing and sneaking. However, at the same time, there's enough combat abilities within the archetype that you can still be useful when it comes to a straight up combat. Disguise Self remains one of the best low-level infiltrator style spells because it is an hour duration and requires no concentration. Disguising yourself as a servant in order to get access to the Lord, disguising yourself as a worker in order to observe your prey more closely, or even just disguising yourself as anyone else so that people don't know the assassin's true identity. This is an amazing spell and it's no concentration, it should be used all the time. The challenge though is to incorporate this spell in such a way that the rest of the players around the table can get involved. Perhaps you use your disguise in order to go around dismissing guards from their post, or perhaps you use your disguise to actually walk amongst the rest of your party and then have to convince people that these are your new bodyguards and that you don't need any assistance. The actor feat combos so well with this spell as well to make really convincing disguises, and in any kind of environment or any kind of campaign where it's all about individuals and influence, by being able to imitate those people who have that influence, you can start moving the campaign in the direction that you want. Rope Trick isn't what it used to be, but it's still an amazing spell to have in your arsenal. The spell allows you to set up a strong observation point. The spell allows you to hide from any creatures that you might be trying to escape from. The spell allows you to prepare yourself in order to ambush something, so as soon as it walks past you, you can slip out and get a sneak attack on it. This spell is so good, and it's party based as well, because up to 8 creatures can get within that extra dimensional space, so everyone can take advantage of it. This is a great spell, it's a great addition to have for the Gloom Stalker archetype. At some point, somewhere, somehow, this spell is going to be an absolute lifesaver, and the more interesting and practical and creative ways that you can use it is going to be so much the better for you. If you're in one of these very people-focused campaigns, then grab Humanoid as your favourite enemy. Also consider grabbing any other common race that you're going to be encountering within the campaign as well. Once you got a few levels of Ranger under your belt, it's time to start focusing your abilities. If you want to be more of a trained soldier, then something like Battlemaster is an excellent choice. If you want to be more of a survivalist, perhaps you want to go with Scout Rogue. Since you don't want to be overdoing your spells too much, you're going to be relying quite heavily on feats, and you're going to need a fair few of them as well. In the dark corners and alleys of the city, you're going to have things that are going to want to ambush you, so Alert is a really good choice. If you want to be the one, however, doing the ambushing, then Skulker is what you'll need. It helps to keep you hidden, it improves your ability to hide, and of course you'll still be able to see with enough accuracy that you won't get disadvantaged on your shots. If you're working in tight alleys, you want to have things like hand crossbows because they're going to be easy to conceal. So things like Crossbow Expert really help to keep you reloading really fast. Sharpshooter is the gold standard in this environment because even though it's not range that you're worried about, there are going to be plenty of areas where people can find cover, where they can duck behind bins, where they can duck inside of alleys. Being able to ignore half cover and three-quarter cover, as well as the opportunity to get additional damage on your attack rolls, absolutely perfect. Only grab Actor if you really want to be a charismatic ranger, but then again, this is the whole point of the Unconventional series. So grab Actor if you plan to make good use of the Disguise Self spell. Get into the areas that you need to get into, use your Disguise Self to get hold of as much information as you can, and then you can start hunting your mark with absolute precision. So now there's a brand new monster hunter out, and who doesn't want to go around taking down the biggest and baddest beasts in the land? While Ranger does have some interesting combat styles, unfortunately it doesn't get two-handed weapons. But if you want to be going after the biggest and baddest creatures that there are, then I can't imagine you going at it with two little finesse weapons. Even though the style is very good, the suspension of disbelief isn't quite there for me. And I think if you want to go into big up-close combat with a huge monster, having a massive crushing weapon like a huge hammer, massive axe, or giant greatsword is exactly the kind of thing you want to be considering. There's a lot to be said for knowing the resistances and the immunities of a particular creature if you're going to go into combat against it. So having something like Hunter's Sense on your side is an absolute godsend. Furthermore, the Slayer's Prey is basically a discount Hunter's Mark, and because you use it as an ability and not as a spell, you can, over the course of a couple of rounds, have both things on the target at the same time, allowing you to get a much greater damage output. Once you've got as much as you want out of the Ranger class, it might then be worth going into something like Champion. Now, Battlemaster tends to be the stronger class, but Champion is really kind of focused more towards strength anyway. Champion has the combination of great weapon fighting and improved critical, so you're going to be dealing critical hits a lot more often because you have a higher threat range. Additionally, however, because you have great weapon fighting, you get to reroll your lowest numbers, and therefore you get consistently good damage with each of your attacks. Those of you wanting to advance a little further down the Champion path will get access to Remarkable Athlete. In all honesty, you're going to want to be jumping out of the way of these charging beasts when they start hurtling towards you. You want to draw these beasts into areas where you can get the greater advantage. You want to draw them into caverns, you want to draw them between rocks where there are natural choke points. You want to be able to get into trees and things so that you can go for the jump attack on top of them. Anything and everything that will give you an advantage in combat and limit the amount of things that the beast can do, because you cannot go toe to toe with something that's so monstrously huge. Great Weapon Master is going to be the best feat for this monster hunter, because you're going to be able to deal so much additional damage with it. Additionally, however, you have a much higher chance of getting a critical hit because you have the threat range of 19 to 20, which will allow you an additional bonus attack as well with the Great Weapon Master feat. Additionally, Athlete is really important, because you're going to want to get up as fast as you can if the beast knocks you down, and you don't want to be losing your movement speed. As well as climbing, you don't want to be spending extra movement in trying to climb. You want to get up to the top as quickly as possible so that you can get an advantage from the high ground. Even though you might have a lot of hit points, you don't really have the armor to take on a frontal assault from some of these beasts and monstrosities that you'll be facing. Expect to be on the run a lot, and I mean a lot. You're not going to be going toe to toe with these things unless you have some help to back you up as well. If this means taking a couple of levels of rogue in order to get the cunning action so that you can disengage quickly, then it might be worth considering doing so. As well as that, Scout will offer you the Skirmisher ability, allowing you to move when a creature ends its turn within 5 feet of you, and that movement doesn't provoke an attack of opportunity, which is so useful for getting out of the clutches of a really nasty creature. Additionally, you get nature and survival skills for free, allowing you to put your other skills in better places, as well as the fact you're going to know all about the environment that the beasts are in and how best to use that environment to your advantage. So the next request that's been asked for is, I would love to hear your take on a Steve Irwin build. I don't know if this suggestion is terrible or brilliant, but what I do know is the man is a great legend who brought joy to millions of people and taught everyone the value of respecting animals. He was an amazing human being who was taken from us far too soon. I also know I'm not the only YouTuber who's been asked to do this, so I also like to think that perhaps this request was born out of respect and admiration. As it is, I would not presume to try to build this character to represent this person. However, what I can do is give you the tools to build your own ranger that embodies the ideals of this wonderful human being. When you come to build your character, I'm thinking of a combination of Beastmaster, Ranger and Law Bard. When it comes to abilities for characters, it might just be a case of just renaming all of your character options and just looking at everything from a completely different perspective. In the context of this character, I don't particularly like the term favoured enemy. Whereas the last character was a beast hunter, this character is a protector of animals, and you want to really incorporate that into your entire being. Whereas you might still go out for adventure, you want to embody the fact that you have a healthy respect for beasts and do whatever you can to prevent them from hurting themselves or others. So you might want to rename this as something like favoured creature or area of expertise, or whatever you think is appropriate to your character. This ability really only allows you to track creatures and to recall information about them, which is what you want. You want to be learning about beasts, and you want to be learning about the things that you are taking an interest in. In contrast to actually stalking a creature, since you know what its tracks look like, you know now how best to avoid it so as not to cause those animals distress. When it comes time to pick up your combat style, remember you don't want to hurt these things, you want to help them. You want to learn about them, you want to study them. So the best thing you can do is look after yourself. So I would say defense is the way to go. When dealing with beasts, you don't want to be using any manufactured weapons, so Tavern Brawler is the absolute perfect feat. You want to be taking advantages of things like branches and logs, giving the creature something to focus its attention on, and once you use it, you then have a lead-in to grapple with the creature, so as, again, not to allow it to get away, but also so that it can't really hurt you or itself. In this respect, you also want to invest in some nets or something, again, for the purposes of disabling the creature so that they are no longer a threat. Your bardic inspiration should be one of your most important abilities, because you want to really be inspiring people to greatness for things like saving throws and ability checks, but at the same time, your cutting words comes in so valuable. You want to rethink your cutting words in order to use things like soothing and calming expressions in order to prevent creatures from attacking. By using things like cutting words, you get to reduce the creature's attack or damage rolls, which helps to protect you while you're trying to safely immobilize the creature. At the same time, the penalty on ability checks helps you to grapple it better. The bard also gets expertise, so it might be worth considering going for nature or survival in order to get that double proficiency. If on the other hand you're considering doing a lot of grappling, then perhaps you want to consider going with athletics instead. So I found this to be a very curious suggestion, but it might have seemed like I was walking on eggshells the whole time, and the fact is I very much was. It's a very interesting concept, but at the same time you don't want to upset people, especially for someone who people have a lot of respect and admiration for. At the end of the day, we're all here to roleplay together, so we all need to take everyone around the table's feelings into consideration. Ultimately, there's no problem in having these character concepts, but it is how you approach it and how you define it which is really the important thing. Now, I'm not going to shy away from handling a task like this one, but I just want to make sure that I get it right. So I've been quite enjoying doing unconventional characters. Unconventional Monk was a lot of fun. I've just finished Unconventional Ranger now, and that was really good. It might even become a small series in and of itself. So unconventional characters in every kind of character class. If an unconventional character series is something you guys would like to see, then be sure to comment on it down below. Also be sure to like and subscribe. On a more personal note, I just want to thank everyone who put in so much effort in sharing around the content and in trying to promote the channel. So I'd like to thank How To D&D for doing a spotlight on me. I also would like to thank B. Lynn for posting in Twitter and making full use of that and really sharing the content around that, something I've seen people doing. Also a big thank you to those of you who have been sharing the content to other pages, to other friends, getting your friends and other gamers involved. That's been really, really helpful. As it is, YouTube has now demonetized me across the entire platform for every video that I've done because I haven't quite made the subscriber count yet. However, we're not far away. Once we hit that 1,000, I'll get reviewed again, and then hopefully I can get my monetization back. It's not too big a deal for me. However, it would be nice to have a little reward from Google for keeping you guys on their site for long enough. Honestly though, I think it's amazing to have over 900 of you guys subscribe to this channel. it's something I never imagined. Every one of you have been so great. The outpouring of support has been incredible, and the kind comments that I get on a regular basis are just so amazing. Every time I read one of those great comments, it just inspires me to do more. And every time you guys put in a suggestion, it just shows how much you like the channel and how much you want to interact with it. So keep doing that, and I'll keep doing these videos for you. Thank you again for supporting the Bard, and I will see you guys next time at the gaming table.